would you like an over-the-shoulder look of the THQ trainers and the shoot process? Us trainers, we absolutely love weight training and we love progressing our body shape. And it's a non-negotiable that all THQ trainers have to do a photo shoot. That's because so that we can relate to you guys and we know how it feels when you get into the deep stages of a diet and what it feels to achieve a body transformation. Jack, Jamie and Adam are currently on peak week now. We're all getting ready really. Well, these three are getting ready, I'm not getting ready. I'm just observing them. I've just had a tan for the sake of it really. So everyone's getting ready for the photo shoot and we're going to give you now a deep dive into our thoughts and feelings and some tips and tricks. So if you really want to get the most out of THQ in your body transformation, you're definitely going to find this video very, very, very useful. What does your diet look like, Jack, for your, what does your breakfast look like?
I pretty much kept it consistent throughout the 12 weeks, just added on loaded it up with veg, a bit of turkey bacon, and about three eggs. Literally had that throughout the 12 weeks. I did find that if I had carbs early in the morning though, like porridge or anything like that, I wanted to eat 2 hours later.
Yeah.
So I kept keeping it high in protein. I was more satiated for longer.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you're on the shoot, you've got to be very sort of strict with your calories, haven't you? Because you've got nothing really to play with, really. So, what would you two really have for breakfast or dinner, or what would a dinner look like on average day?
Well, to be fair with me, I'm on the early shift, and me personally, I like to have more calories later on at night. So I'll tend to fast through my morning shift. I'll have a fairly sized lunch, and then I'll try to make sure I've got 1,000 calories for me tea no matter what, because that's when I tend to eat more.
Yeah,
and that works for me.
Yeah, because sleep's a big thing as well, isn't it? People going to bed hungry and stuff, and if it's sleep effect on the shoot, that's going to help with that, definitely. And helps with family as well, doesn't it? Especially when your missus sat there eating and then you can't really eat, so yeah, that's good.
Normally I have porridge for breakfast, like some protein powder or something like that.
Yeah.
And then normally dinner be scrambled eggs with some turkey or some chicken, some bit of fish in there.
Yeah.
And then normally when we evening meal, I normally try and wait till probably about 8 o'clock. Because if I have it I always try and go at about 5 o'clock with when the missus and kids have their tea. Then by 8 o'clock I'm hungry and I'm snacking. But I don't mind waiting. I'm perfectly fine not to eat at 5 o'clock and wait till maybe 9 o'clock and eat then and then just go to bed. And I find that helps me.
Yeah.
Stops me looking for that late night sort of snack or something to eat.
It's good. How many meals have you got over a day on the shoot, really? Does it change from your normal diet?
No, just 3.
3?
Yeah, I try to stick to 3, and if I've got room in the calories, a couple of snacks, but usually 3 big meals should cover it.
Yeah.
I tend to have 2 big meals, 2 snacks.
Yeah.
That's what I've always done. That's what I've done through the shoot.
What's the biggest frustrations with diets on the shoot, would you say?
I think it's just the cravings. Obviously, the further you get into the diet as well, the more severe them cravings are. You're just thinking about in everyday life, I'd probably have a treat night. Friday night, I'll get takeaway or something. Obviously, in the shoot, it's not going to be that beneficial.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of like a Friday night, and you've got to stay strict. And so I'm not trying to go for that cheap.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that you've got to make sure that the quality of food's there in it, because if you've only got a certain amount of calories, if you have something that's going to make you more hungry and not serving, you've got to constantly think about it. I think that's probably one of the most draining parts of the shoot when you get to it. I just want to eat, relax. Obviously you got your protein, your fats and your carbs are there. Do you struggle with your protein intake, struggle with your fat intake, struggle with your carb intake?
Pretty consistent in what I eat anyway, so I'm usually there and thereabouts around the macros. I think it's just about playing with portion sizes anyway. So if you're a bit off with your protein, just up your protein on each meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I normally sort of get there with the calories and the protein. Fat's normally a little bit low, carbs normally a little bit high.
Yeah.
All I do, which I've always done, in my fitness pal, I make it into my training day, my non-training day, I make it into a meal, just put the whole lot in, and then I can just play around and get everything as close as I can, and then normally I just stick to that.
Yeah.
I might do 2 training days, 2 non-training days with different foods, and then it's there then, and I can just look at it.
Yeah.
I haven't got to type it all in throughout the day, I can just bang it all in one, and then one measuring out, one having out everything.
Cool. But like I say, as long as we get that protein intake in and like the overall calories, we're going to be on the way, aren't we, for that body shape? Like, Jimmy, if you had to give a secret for staying consistent, what would it be?
You've just got to just set yourself realistic goals.
Yeah.
Don't look too far ahead. Just take it week by week, and just stay consistent with your meals. Have a plan for the week and stick to that plan. The further you go on through the shoot, the lower your calories go.
Yeah.
But you just sort of got to grow into the shoot, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I've found like the further you get into the shoot, the more your mind frame changes around it as well, and the more easier it is to stay strict on your diet.
Yeah. Through the shoot, it gets easier and easier, doesn't it? Because your commitment's there, and it gets like at the start, you think, oh my god, 12 weeks is going to be hard, but it's literally following week by week, and it does get easier, doesn't it? Like I say, I like that growing into the shoot as you're going into it. It
becomes a habit as you go through 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And the further you get through the shoot, the more you see the results.
Yeah.
So the more you want to continue on to keep seeing the results.
Yeah.
Like at the start of the shoot, your calories are quite high. So you don't really see the results as much, so it can be easy to think, oh, well, I can just have a little cheat or something.
Yeah.
But the further if you just stay consistent, you're going to see the results. And like I say, the further you get into the shoot, the more changes you're going to see.
So like the mindset of starting a shoot, I think, is everything in it. So if you nail that first week, first 2 weeks, then you know you're going to be in for a good ride. So like, how do you prepare yourself for switching that mindset from like just eating good? Because we all eat good all the time. Generally, if you look on the scale of things, like we all keep ourselves reasonable shape. But then switching to diet mode in the shoot, it's a big difference. Is there any tips that you can give people of switching that mindset?
The shoot, you can't think, I'm on a diet. You can't chase trying to feel full, because you're not always going to feel full because your calories are low.
Yeah, like that.
That's what I like about the shoot. That's a process, and it's not all at once. It's week by week that you've got a task. You've got to do this. So it's not week 1. You've got this. Week 1. All you've got to concentrate is protein, calories, and that's it. So you're just easing yourself into it.
Anything to particularly do with your food and your training? So like, I give myself a couple of disciplines really that I stick to, and I probably stick to them all the time anyway. But they're non-negotiable in the shoot. Like, for example, like eating in my car. Like I don't eat in my car because I know that it's not gonna be an associated meal, and I know I haven't got that many calories to play with.
There's not much I sort of changed because of like diet-wise anyway. Sort of keep it pretty bland anyway, because if I get too complicated with my food, I will go off track, and so I just keep it pretty simple. And being honest with yourself, I found is the biggest thing. If you make a slip up, don't. Like I struggled a little bit earlier in the shoot, and I didn't say anything to anyone. I just sort of kept it to myself, and it got worse and worse. And then all I did was mention it to you, and you didn't even really say much. You just said, "Oh, just do your best." And I found instantly from just being honest with someone, it just changes your mindset.
100%. Yeah, that's powerful as well, because that's great advice for people in a session. Because if people on the shoot, if you got in a session with people, talk to the trainer. That's why we do it, innit? That's why, because we can relate to people in the session. So if somebody is struggling, they should speak out about it. It's just by that motion of talking about it, right? And then change your mindset. It makes you more accountable as well, doesn't it? So, what's in alcohol? Do we drink on the shoot? Do we not drink on the shoot? Do we have a couple of nights?
I had quite a few nights out, quite a few events.
Yeah.
I mean, 12 weeks without having anything planned is very hard for people to block that off. But it's just about getting smart choices when you do go out. I switched from having pints to having shorts and tequila and soda water and that sort of stuff, and probably limit it down to having 12 pints to having 4 of those.
But when you're leading, you feel it more anyway.
Yeah,
don't you? So you probably have so that's good too. So you still have them nights out.
Yeah.
There's times in the shoot probably where you do have to come to the closing stages and probably have to say no to a few events. But like I say, 12 weeks is a long time. I know you don't drink much everything. Apart from staff nights out, that's it. Full bottle and that's it for the game.
That's not full shoot. Not gonna lie.
We'll talk about staff now.
With me, if I know what I'm like, if I have a drink, my food choices the next day, probably next week, aren't going to be the best. So I've just not drank at all through the shoot because I know it'll just be around me completely.
Yes.
Yeah, it is one thing I did struggle with was the next day and the cravings, and they become a lot stronger after you've had a drink. So that was a struggle.
Yeah, and I think people have to learn that for themselves, don't they? So if we just say to them, right, 12 weeks no drink, everyone's like, oh. But then if you say, right, just put all these good habits in, go through it and actually work into the shoot, you'll put all this work in, and when you have that one night out and you think, well, everything's so much harder, people probably tend to not really do it again or not do it at all, do they, throughout the shoot?
But at the same time as well, if you do go out and you're feeling hungover, don't beat yourself up about it.
So what's training look like? How's training been? What's the differences? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel weaker?
I have staged my training. So the first half, for the first 4 weeks, it was more strength based. Then after that, it was more hypertrophy based. And then I went to more supersets, which helped me mentally. Because your strength is going to drop off as you go through the shoot. You are going to get weaker. So as I got to the end, I knew if I was doing supersets towards the end, I would have to drop my weights. So I'm not always looking to lift the heaviest, I'm just more strength endurance.
Yeah.
Try my best to keep my lifts consistent. The only thing that changes is just decrease the volume a bit towards the end.
Yeah.
Stay as close as I can to my lifts, just not as many reps.
And that's what we need people to understand is, we don't want you to sort of not train hard, but at some points, like, you are going to feel weak. And I think is if people go through the shoot getting stronger and stronger and fitter and fitter and like absolutely smash them, they're not doing it properly, are they? They're not going to get the body shape that they want. Because there's plenty of times for performance afterwards, after you've done the shoot, and that's where the shoot is designed to get you as lean as possible, looking the best you can. They're a bit inexperienced with it, they'll struggle with feeling weak and feeling like they're failing because they're feeling weak when it's actually the reverse in it. How do you stay motivated to get to the gym, or is motivation more higher in the shoot?
I think it's higher. I think I'm already in a routine as I go through. I enjoy training anyway, so getting in the gym's not a problem. And when I'm focused on a diet, on a shoot, it just comes hand in hand, I think.
I love training anyway, so motivating myself to train has not been an issue. Gets a little bit harder towards the end when you're not having as many calories, you've not got as much energy.
Yeah.
But I've got my eyes on the prize, which is the shoot at the end of the day, so that's what's keeping me going.
Yeah, that's for me as well. Like at the start, I'm really motivated to train because you've got this fresh goal that's going in, but then as you're getting closer, it's like, oh, this is getting hard now, isn't it? And then the training sessions do get harder, but like I say, because you've got that picture at the end and you can see that goal, it makes it a little bit easier then. How do you deal with social events?
Personally, this time, I've just not gone. I've just said I'm not going.
Yeah.
Which is not everyone is going to do, and I wouldn't expect anyone to do that as well, but it's just, I'm going back to the alcohol thing again. If I go out, I'm going to get tempted to drink.
Yeah.
It's going to derail me, so I'll just say, no, I'm not going to do it this time.
Yeah. I have to do an event, and then I will, but I prefer not to when I'm dieting and being strict. Yeah.
I just cut it down. I still go out, I still have a drink, but not as, I'm a little bit more disciplined at making smart choices, but obviously as you go through the night, those choices become harder to make.
Yeah, definitely. What friends and family like with the sport and that?
Really good, to be fair, and I just thought about had a conversation with my partner. Said, especially like peak week and week before, I said I'm probably going to be a bit cranky, just to pre-warn you.
Yeah.
Regards to like being supportive, like they just help keep me motivated. My partner's been helping me with my meals and stuff, so that helps.
Communication's key, innit? Like if you communicate.
It's just getting them on board as well through the process, that helps massively.
100%. Like I've noticed over the years, especially like, say people do the shoot and then the partner joins in to do a shoot together, the results seem to be better because they've got that support at home. Yeah, and I think we can get that support straight away if we communicate straight away. Look, I say, look, this goal means a lot to me. I might need to train more. Might need to be a bit more strict with my food. I might need to. I want you to support in it. I think if we do that it helps the process. Do we get tempted by like nights out, or do you get tempted by food, treats, things like that? Is that the temptation, or are you superhuman because you're training now?
Get tempted on nights out. Like I said, it does lead to the tempting of food, but it's just staying strong and seeing that end goal. And
Constantly thinking about treats and naughty foods
Yeah.
because I know I can't have it.
Yeah.
Go back to the picture at the end.
Yeah.
Like,
And that goal,
Yeah.
achieving that goal, and that outcome. The picture is powerful as well. But like it's I think the outcome of one of following through something that you said you was going to do, that powerful, and
Yeah.
that can lead to every area of your life. But then I think you just get that sometimes we need that reset, don't we? That, you know, I'm going to set this goal, I'm going to achieve it, and that just really just empowers you, I think so.
Yeah, I think for the shoot, I told everyone I was doing the shoot, and I told all the members I was doing the shoot. So then that made me accountable to finish the shoot and actually get a good result.
Do the calories in the shoot, the diet, does that affect your mood taking the sessions as a THQ trainer like a job? And how do you deal with that if it does?
go to work and you just got to be on point for the members, so you can't really let that affect you. But then it probably has affected me a little bit at home, where I'm like super positive at work, let's get through it, and then I'll just crash out on the couch and then
Yeah. And that's where you need that communication, that support as well, don't you? I was well at home, like I mean, the first time I did the shoot though, like I was literally living at home with my mum, and I didn't understand like the emotions of how I was supposed to feel. I'd never been in that severe deficit, and I would have definitely been like divorced if I did, because I was a hard ass. But that was because I didn't know how to. I didn't expect these feelings. But I think when we expect it, we understand it, and we communicate about the goal. I think it's powerful. How do you deal with being hungry?
drinking loads of water, that helps. Keep on top of your water.
Try and keep active, try and keep busy. Otherwise you're going to be sat there thinking about those treats, those cravings.
Yeah, a fighting chance by eating off the meal plan as well, like eating off the shoot meal plan. That quality food, that's going to help you massively, innit?
Start your meals with veg. Use caffeine.
Yeah.
Like Jack says, just stay active, stick to your steps, they're in there for a reason.
And I think hunger as well does subside, doesn't it? Once if you just keep yourself busy, then it does go a little bit. So that first initial bit into at the end of the day, you're not going to starve to death, are we? So
most of the time it's psychological and it's just boredom.
Yeah. And we'll look at how much weight people put on lockdown because they wasn't doing anything. Half of it wasn't moving as much, but half of it was just, what else do we do? So that just shows us how easy it is just to do that. Just slip up nutritionally. How do you deal with that?
Get straight back onto track. Probably look at it as a week overall. If you slipped up on one day, probably reduce your calories on a couple of other days, like drop.
Yeah, or like going off what Jack said, instead of reducing your calories other days, just track. If you've had a cheat meal, just track it. Even if you've gone over and think, right, I've gone over 300 calories, I'm going to go on the treadmill, or I'm going to go for a big walk and burn that 300 calories off.
Yeah. How do we deal with weight, scale weight fluctuating? Over the shoot, the weight's going to go down. That's what it is. Times where, especially after you've trained, if you've had a load of carbohydrates, if you've had a load of water because you're feeling hungry, if you're weighing yourself randomly, you're going to have spikes in weight on you. And I think if you know hand on heart you're doing everything, you're sticking to your calories, you're sticking to the gym, it doesn't really matter what the scales say on a particular day because they are going to go down. Looking for the scales to save us, so we've had a bad day, so I've weighed myself, I'll go away with that, or that's the mindset in it really. So
but I think like you said, ideally you want the scale just to go in a straight line where we're going down, but obviously it's always going to go up and down depending on what we're doing.
Things that can affect your scale weight from day to day. So I won't get hung up on the scales. Progress pictures, because maybe you just gained a bit of muscle. You could still be losing fat, so it's just little things like that.
That is the thing that helped me is progress pictures, same time, same place, every week for the 12 weeks. And
this is probably not a question more for the men, but how do we deal with getting smaller, like men? Like egos in the way. Like I know personally, like I literally just buy tight clothes. I think that's the best personal training advice I've ever heard. Especially lads, if they carry wearing baggy clothes, of course the friends are going to say, oh, you're looking skinny or that, and then that gets in your head, doesn't it? So if you just buy tight clothes, people go, you're looking big. And literally it's just a change in t-shirt. I noticed one of the first time you did your shoot, you was cracking up a little bit.
First time on my shoot, I was always focused on getting bigger, getting stronger. But throughout the shoot, you just see yourself getting a little bit smaller, you get a little bit wide, and then you do start looking at it and going, smaller, weaker, but strength's still there and thereabouts. On that track.
We're getting people to lose muscle, are we? We're getting people to lose body fat, and if you're getting smaller, you're losing fat, not muscle, aren't you? So, if somebody looks skinny with the clothes on, if they take the top off and shred it, they look massive anyway. And that it's so hard to look good on a picture, isn't it? So, like the best advice anyone will give to me is like, when you think you're lean, try and get leaner. You think maybe again, try and get leaner again, because that if you get lean, you're always going to look shredded on the pitch, right?
Yeah.
And females obviously like to be a little bit smaller anyway. It's just a male mindset really with being smaller, I think. And so on to these questions. So what's the first thing that pops into your head like with calorie drops? Shit.
Yeah, hungry.
Hungry.
No carbs.
No carbs. Increased training sessions.
Enjoyable.
Fun.
Halfway point.
Never there.
Thank fuck. Training abs throughout this, well we don't train abs quite a bit, do we? So train abs when you're actually lean.
I enjoy it. I have done it this time. So yeah, enjoyable.
The more the better.
Yeah, worthwhile when you are leaner in it.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing that comes in your head, peak week.
Oh,
Grim.
yeah, horrendous.
Yeah, horrible. Shoot day.
Drink.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so there's a couple of questions that members have asked us as well. So, very common one, feeling cold when they're on the shoot. So, it's just leaner in it, being leaner.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Like you're losing fat, aren't you? And
Losing that.
fat's your body's insulation,
Yeah.
so I think that's a sign that you're on the right track.
Yeah. Aching more?
Again, it's gonna happen. You've got those carbs, you've got less calories to cover. So yeah, and we've got increased training. So yeah, it's gonna happen. It's just shows you're in the right place.
So feeling like you're going to quit and then doubting your progress and then thinking, right, I just want to start over again. Like, that could possibly come from one night out or a couple of bad days or anything like that. What would we say to that?
Get back on track, pick it back up, stay strict.
Beat yourself up. Everyone's human.
Yeah. 3 months is a long time, like we said, isn't it? 3 months is a long time. And fatigued as well. Like, is that just a part and parcel of it, isn't it, really?
It's the low calories, it's the interrupted sleep from having low calories.
When you go into the shoot, before you start, you need to be realistic that it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Don't go into the shoot thinking it's going to be easy and you can do what you can keep doing. Like, you've got to switch your mind, you've got to switch your mindset going into it.
Yeah, that's a key point. So what you're currently doing is going to have to change and switch if you want to get on a shoot path and get a decent result in it. Not being able to sleep, I don't think that's much of an issue. I think we need to question if we're not able to get to sleep. Probably need to question a few things, but like maybe caffeine intake and stuff. But I think it's waking up early more than anything in it. And I think I quite enjoy that sometimes to a degree. But I think if you get, as long as you get a good bedtime routine, you maybe save some calories for the evening, like what Jamie said he does. So you actually help maybe save your carbs for the evening. So it does help a little bit. But at the end of the day, we are in a calorie deficit and our body doesn't want it, so it's like a hunter-gatherer type of instinct, like we want to wake up and hunt. That's why our body's waking us up.
I've struggled with sleep on the shoot.
Yeah.
Obviously having a newborn, it's not made it any easier.
Yeah.
It's just about having a positive attitude and just cracking on with it.
Yeah. The members at the start as well said they have issues with like sort of hitting the calorie target, hitting the protein target. One, I think maybe they switch from eating generally just not what they want, but the average diet, to then eating good quality food, loads of vegetables. That's a factor of not being able to eat your calories in it.
Yeah.
Probably if the first week they're probably still living off what they've been eating the last couple of weeks really, so it takes time to get used to them low calories.
Yeah.
The first weekend they're consistent, I find it's better. Then once they get used to hitting them calories and they hit the protein intake by having quality food, I think someone always said I can never hit the protein intake, and the simple answer is eat better food.
High calorie foods that are lower in volume, which is probably easier to hit their targets.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're probably used to eating a lot more processed sort of foods, so eating whole foods is going to be harder. Probably more satiating, probably too full, getting too full to eat that amount.
But you just learn through the process.
Yeah.
So don't think, oh, I'm not going to have to do it. Just take it as a learning curve and just go from there.
Yeah. A few people say like sometimes they binge a little bit at the start of the shoot. I don't think there's no room for really binging. We need to sort of question if we've made that switch to the shoot mindset, haven't we? That's the thing. Going over protein, it's not the end of the world, but you can go on.
Yeah, as long as we're under calories, it's not biggest problem.
Don't need to really overcomplicate it. Just get your protein, get your calories.
Yeah.
I think most of the time the rest will fall into place.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I think if people are going over the protein, they've nailed the habits, and then at the end of the day, they need to then focus. I think as you get leaner, it's more important to not have too much protein because you probably need more carbs
Yeah.
and need more fats to help with that. So, so any tips for people trying to get super lean on the shoot? What would be like one takeaway that they would have to get lean? What would it be if you could only give them one tip to help them get lean?
Hit your steps. That's definitely going to help. Hit your calories.
Yeah, calories, steps, movement and food.
Lowering calories, your body naturally wants to slow down. So you've got to sort of like tell yourself, I need to keep moving, I need to get my steps in.
So if I say to I say to you, James, you're right, take off 200 calories off, and then you just completely slow down, it's not actually done nothing, has it? Tips on how to stay consistent with the shoot.
Prep your food. Don't just sort of wing it as you're going through the day. Have a plan for the day.
A lot of people are busy throughout the day or have busy weeks. So when you do have one of those stressful busy weeks, you do tend to make the easy, bad choice of food. So having it prepped takes that option out of it and it's there ready for you. That's what I'm having.
Awesome. So last point. So what would you say to anyone thinking about doing the shoot? So we'll do one each. Like for me, it completely gave me a new lease of life, and I thought probably help me through one of the most challenging parts of my life. So I think that it can help with your mindset, and it can really give you a new lease of life from your body transformation. And I think if you ever want to take the step from somebody that diets and yo-yos and exercise to someone that just eats well and trains, and that's what we do, I think the shoot is the bridge to that. That's my opinion on the shoot. So what do you say to anyone thinking about doing the shoot?
I think before I'd done my first shoot, I was always getting lean, but not to this extent. It's helped me understand nutrition, it's helped me understand how my body works in conjunction with activity and calories. But yeah, it's easier to maintain once you get to this level. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Cool.
I'd just say when we like struggle to staying on track with a diet, they start a diet and quit, it's really good just to keep yourself accountable to your coaches, you're telling other people that you're doing it. So yeah, it's just really good if you struggle with staying on track with something, it's going to give you that extra bit of motivation to do it.
Yeah. Cool. Nice one, guys, anyway. Appreciate that. So hopefully everybody found that really helpful. Again, every THQ trainer has to do a shoot. We're dead passionate about just making sure that we are on the level of members so we can help you the best we can. So whenever you go through a shoot, guys, remember communicating with us is absolutely vital for you being able to get the results, but we're always going to be able to relate to you because we've been there before as well. So hopefully you found that helpful. Take care, and I will see you all soon.